Okay, so just to preface this for everybody on the video here, we've got a live studio audience and we're going to get deep into the instruction on how to utilize the core four from Pyridime to heal, cleanse, regenerate the gastrointestinal tract to end the chronic doom loop. I call it the gastrointestinal doom loop of just the whole world is just toxic in their gastrointestinal tract because of the way we live, where we're way off course, and it's been totally normalized. So things like fasting, juicing, raw foods, detox, and other technologies like enzymes and probiotics are just like, oh my God, that's so far out in left field, but it's not. Because we're trying to balance out a world gone mad, you know? So let's try to make some sense out of all this and get you on a, at least give you a foundation, which is a protocol, which is what everyone asks me for. I'm different. I have been doing this for 30 something years, so everything is just intuitive to me. And I know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, but that is not the case with most people. They need to be told step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, okay? So let's do that today. The first thing is the good old cleanse powder. That's where you start in the morning, right? Have you ever done this?
I have.
You have.
That's what got me through my
You have
loss.
not.
I have not.
Okay. This is the cleanse powder, and somewhere in here is the cleanse caps. It's both the same exact thing, but this one you get a little bit more for your money, but it's you have to mix this in some kind of juice, usually orange juice, apple juice, grape juice. A lot of people use water. My daughter and I, we did a test a long time ago and we found out grapefruit juice is really the best. It actually makes it taste kind of good. I like to use citrus or some kind of fruit juice, works really well. You mix a tablespoon or two into the fruit juice, you shake it up and you just knock it back. And what it is it's psyllium husk, hibiscus, which is anti-inflammatory. And the psyllium husk is really an awesome thing because it has the scraping effect as well as this mucilaginous effect. So it grabs on to certain things and it grabs onto other different certain things and pulls it out. And so usually most people, they don't even ever do the colonics. So you already have an advantage, but like I said, I noticed it right away that it's the small intestine. And that's the problem, is that you can't reach the small intestine with colonics. You can take colonics and you can clean out all the debris in your lower colon, but no one can get to the small intestine unless you come from the top, which of course is the raw foods, the juicing, and some type of herbs.
And my colonic specialist told me not to do psyllium.
Okay, of course.
So,
Which, and so all I've heard about this is rave reviews for, for many years. We've been doing this for.
I get blockage right here, like it stuck out.
If you use it with raw foods though, it'll soften, meaning fruit. They told you not to do that too. And so I get it. And that's the hard part about this job, is it all just depends. But everyone has these hardcore, hard and fast rules. Never do this, never do that. And I'm like, well, it just depends. Because God is smarter than the humans, and Mother Nature as well. And we reach these impasses, but then we have all these concrete ideas in our head about don't do this, don't do that, never do psyllium husk. All I've ever seen is that people are constipated, they haven't crapped in 3 weeks, they take 1 dose of this and the next day they have a deuce.
So you've got to be hydrated.
You've got to be hydrated, and that's the key to the whole thing anyways, is the dehydration from the cooked food. Because when you cook the food, number 1, the enzymes die. Number 2, the water dissipates. It's no longer living water. All the foods have the living water, in it. And people were arguing with me in the comments section. Even the animal products have enzymes in them that the raw carnivores in nature, it pre-digests the food. And so the cooking of the food is the problem, and the mixing of all these things together so that we have that emotional suppression, because we want that, oh, this is amazing, all these mixtures and buttery, fatty, cheesy, softy, salty, cookie, crunchy deliciousness, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so then, but it's like, okay, then you're like, let's just eat this golden russet apple at the co-op, which I've been just living off those because they're the most amazing thing. The texture, the flavor. I've never seen a golden russet apple.
We're talking about a potato.
Yeah, it's a golden russet apple, and they're at the co-op, and you're like, there's no zippity bop. So it's very hard to suppress your emotions that are stagnant with those apples, with a little bit of celery and a little bit of homemade walnut butter, right? Just you take celery and you take a walnut and you like eat like a monkey. Now nature, God, your microbes, they all know what to do. You don't get any zippity bops. So food is no longer now a drug. It's like it's a pragmatic, purposeful endeavor. But guess what? That's about less than 1% of the time. So that's why raw foodists, mono-mealers, fruitarians, or whatever, they have the right idea. And then the rest of us are like, well, let's go out to dinner and we can have a 4-course meal and then we'll poop like in about a week, you know,
Yep.
right? So when you smile, that's the greatest thing you got to do, because you know, it changes your, you know.
Energy.
So when we get the colon cleaned up from the perpetual, I just came up with this recently, and I call it the gastrointestinal doom loop. There's so much trash in the GI tract that's undigested waste matter, and it's just harboring all those microorganisms. And guess what? Those microorganisms are eating the residuals of said undigested, because we talked about the bonding of the molecules where it leaves the residues. Then those microorganisms, they're just pooping inside of you. And guess what? So when you have highly oxygenated food, you have a different subset of microbes. They're like, hey, this is amazing. The oxygen, the sunlight, there's plenty of water. We're totally hydrated. We can produce these metabolites that have a higher consciousness of like, hey, life is actually pretty good. But then you've got the masses of humanity. That's why you're crazy, Dan McDonald. How dare you be happy and feel good most of the time until you got to deal with social media. Then you want to turn yourself in to the funny farm and just cry and go away because it's like, how did these crazy people get into my network? But then you got to get out there because there's people like you that we connect with, and this can make sense. Like we talked about a lot of stuff today. This is like the meat and potatoes, if you will. This is the apples and oranges. This is just like a program, and we haven't even gotten started on the explanation of it yet, but I think, is what I'm saying useful though? All
Yes.
this stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So your large intestine, because of the colon hydrotherapist who actually is a old friend of my girlfriend, and we're all supposed to connect, like you said, the tool.
Mm-hmm.
She told him about the tool that I'm supposed to get. Do you know what the tool is?
I'm assuming it goes with the bathtub.
Yeah, okay, right, exactly. So it's funny. Everybody's a bunch of colon hydrotherapists now, but anyways, cleaning the colon is very important. And that's a lot easier. I can't even get people to do that. They're like, there's no way I'm sticking a hose up my butt. And I've had people resist. So you guys are a little more enlightened than most people, believe it or not. But I've had miracles happen. People that couldn't poop in years, they haven't taken a dump. And they feel terrible, and the acne and the smell and the stomach that's just this huge donut. And then I convince them, do it. They finally do it. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. You know, headaches, 2-year-long headaches washed away, you know, or just people that just haven't pooped and they're just so constipated. And so that's where this comes in. I've had nothing but great luck with the psyllium husk. So that's all I can say. I get it. Everyone's out there, never do this, never do that, don't eat apple seeds, whatever. I'm like, I've never pulled an apple seed out of an apple in my life, you know? So we all, you know, we have to make our own decisions. But
So
this,
putting psyllium husk in bread, to bake bread, is like the worst thing you can do to your intestines.
I don't know why anyone would do that.
It's part of a recipe that I
It's
got.
a big thing.
Oh,
They're-
okay.
Especially for gluten-free. They'll make gluten-free bread. The psyllium holds everything together.
Yeah.
And it's like you are eating a rock that becomes part of your intestines.
Okay, so I guess that's the important reason why I always use the juices with everything, you know, with this too, to make sure that it's, and then it's mucilaginous, and what it does is it bulks up and
You
it
don't
just
wanna leave it
flushes.
in a cup. You don't want to mix it in your juice and then walk.
Have you done that before? Yeah, me too. I did one once and I left it in the refrigerator overnight and it was a Jello. So, but that's what you want to have happen in the gut. You want the Jello action of this to happen in your stomach so that it becomes this gel with all these different herbs that are hibiscus flower, which is the number one. And that's just an anti-inflammatory, soothing, you know. And then you've got the psyllium husk and peppermint and cascara sagrada, which is a very gentle laxative. It softens up the stool.
Well, I think the point of my hydrotherapist was that because I always block up here at the top, you could just see it. I went to a chiropractor to manipulate, to try to move things. Agony, I was in so much pain. I went to the colon therapist, and it was just so, that's why he said don't use psyllium, because I was already so blocked up. He didn't want me to add more to make
Right.
it cement.
So that's why
He
you
just told me,
need
don't do it.
the hydration. Someone else told you not to eat fruit, but the fruit is just
Oh,
gonna
nobody
go.
told me not to.
Okay, good.
No, but I think the order of it is get off of the cooked food, get that unblocked, drink juice, and then do that product. Not try to put that product into an already very blocked,
Dry.
dry block.
Yes.
Like you could see the clump of waste right here.
Yeah.
It wasn't moving. I was so sick.
That's what you've got, is just a blocked up small intestine. So if you do the one thing for your health from this day forth, flush that out of there. Think, what's gonna wash that out of there? Crackers or grapefruit? Which one's gonna soften through solubility,
Yeah.
dissolution? Yeah, it's gonna be an orange, a grapefruit, apples, grapes, and the water that will soften and dissolve the accumulations. And that's what every human being is dealing with. And then when you have the issue with the pollen, that means if you breathe in pollen and then you start sneezing, your lymphatic system is just overloaded. It can't even take one more piece of pollen. So, so let me finish with this, because we're just barely getting started here. But this is the capsules, which are very convenient. And then this is the cleanse, where you get a little more for your money, and you can do like a double dose. I'll do like a triple dose, 3 tablespoons, 16 ounces of OJ, knock it back, boom, 18, 20 hours later, boom. I'm just like, you know, because it just takes everything with it. And when you're super clean and super hydrated, I've had nothing but amazing results on this personally, and I'm very clean as it is. So you have to decide if you want to get, I mean, I like to always have both, you know, but if it's easier to take 8 caps, so that's the protocol, is 8 caps of the cleanse. That's the first step in the morning with some kind of fresh juice.
Is this a time frame, like 1 or 2 weeks you're on this program, or is it every single day the rest of your life?
7-day reboot,
Okay.
21-day transformation, lose 21 pounds in 21 days, or the 40-day reset, or the 90-day heal all protocol, done by Johnny Juicer, done by the great Matt Sanchez, all these experts that then when I put them on this, are like, I need to do something. All these fasting, juicing, raw food experts. So it doesn't matter if you're starting Billy Bob, who's only eaten pork and Coca-Cola your whole life. You can start this and it'll be a blessing. Or people at the top level that have been doing this, solid food vacations, fruitarians, breatharians, this will take you to a higher level because it's the high vibration, number one, super high intention, everything's prayed over. So the intention is there, the quality, the purity, every single thing is tested. And then it's so well thought out by the formulators because they've been doing this in their family for 40 years. And then Lou Corona is kind of heads it up. Then the rest of the family does all the scientific research and the formulations and the testing. And they understand all the science, and they talk to all the people around the world that are doing enzyme and herbal therapy to help people to heal. And so one of these days we'll have to get them on because they're way more advanced in the science than I am. I'm just a regular guy who's done this stuff, and I've seen with all my friends. Now, my friends are geniuses in their own respective fields, but they're not necessarily nutritionists, and they don't always eat raw, and they go off the rails. They know raw foods is what it is, but it's difficult for people. You know, I'm out here homeless, living in my car, and I still stay on the raw food. And I still this is all I have. I just bring my Pyridine, a couple of wife beaters. I don't need anything else, you know?
That's what she called them.
Yeah, so this is the number one thing in the morning.
Have you not heard that before? From you, and then
Yeah.
you got your wife beater shirt on, your husband beater shirt.
Husband beater, never heard that one.
Well, you guys match.
So I was gonna try to make it easy, but Mr. Philosophy, but I think it's good because it helps to draw a picture, you know, of just some of these things that might need to be hit. So you start off in the morning and you get up and you move a little bit if and when you can, even if you feel like crap, you know. I've learned to meditate at 5 a.m. every day, no matter what, unless I didn't get to bed till like 3, and it's ridiculous, you know. But even if I get to bed late and I had a crappy night, I still wake up at 5, and then if I don't feel well, I will lay back down every great once in a while. But usually, you know, you can teach yourself to get up in the morning and get some movement, whether that's stretching or getting outside, mostly to get the sunlight in your eyes. And that's a whole nother story, but that's the melatonin. That if you can get the orange, red rays in the morning, that starts a process in your brain of harvesting melatonin and creating melatonin, which is the number one detoxification chemical that is released at night. That's why the sunlight is so good. I know the doctors and, you know, they're against the sun, you know, and then of course all these other people just block out the sun. But that's because they're psychopaths. But the sun is good. And I've never wore a stitch of any of that crap in my life. Sunblock, it's not bad. It's our diets are so acidic that the sun burns our skin. So that's a solar callus. But if you can get out and get the sunlight in your eyes with the morning walks or any kind of even just a morning yoga sesh, 15 minutes of that sets the tone for the day. And then getting sun on the skin, that produces more melatonin. So we are nature deprivation syndrome, NDS, all of us, everybody. I can't get enough nature. The more of it that I get, the colder, the more wet, the more hot, the more fresh air, the more away from all the bull crap that I am, the better I feel. And so I've been climbing mountains every day, you know. So, but let's just try to stay on track because that is not my strong suit, staying on track. But simply to get you on a protocol, it's just 8 of these or 1 tablespoon of this. And this is a daily thing, which you can do up to 90 days, basically. You can do it 7 days, 21 days, 40 days, or 90 days, or anything in between. And do you need to stay on it the rest of your life? No. Once you're super radiantly, ridiculously healthy, and you're glowing like a light and people are blinded by your energy and your awesomeness, then you can stop. And there's a reason why, you know, until you get to a super high level of living foods. There's living foods, raw foods, which is what most of the raw food people get. Living foods is fresh, the sprouts, the fruit on the tree, the coconut in the tree, the cucumber hanging on the vine, the watermelon freshly picked, the kale, the cilantro out of your garden, pluck and eat. Wheatgrass is living food. That's what we want. That's why we're all sick, fat, and dying and miserable, because there's not enough living food, which is what every organism on this entire planet eats. Even the carnivores, they eat a living thing. And then there's the vultures, and those are the scavengers, which is what most of us have become with the ultra processed foods and the old, aged everything. Aged out. No more living foods, no more connection to life. And so now we have to utilize these technologies to try to clean out a lifetime of rubberized wax and dysbiosis, which is the doom loop of the gastrointestinal tract, because the microorganisms living inside this anaerobic environment, hiding behind these thick walls of globs of blobs called biofilms, and they just go into hibernation, chilling. Then it peaks out like this, and they create these clouds, and up here in the clouds is where they eat all your food. All the different dysbiotic microorganisms living in the biofilms. And then those clouds, they break off, they replant. These microorganisms, they want to live just like you, life. Life wants to live. And so if you've eaten donuts and ice cream all your life, and now you've got these candida microorganisms that they've become a part of you. Now to think that you're just going to kill them because Dan McDonald showed you about the herbal blood and the pyrozyme. So I'm going to make this very easy, because Fran's got to take the notes, so you'll just be like 8. It's just 8. That's my lucky number. I picked it. Lou Corona does like 10 or 20. But Lou Corona, usually the people at their total wit's end. They've got fibroids or giant tumors or cancer or whatever, And he just blasts them with you'll go through a whole bottle like this in 3 days, filling. And I've never found you can't take too many. In fact, somebody said, Dan McDonald, you wouldn't take so many if you got them for free, right? But guess what? I've never gotten one single enzyme from Pyridime for free. I pay for them. That's why I have affiliates with Pyridime, so I can take that affiliate check and buy my own products. That's why I have Morocco Method for the hair, so I can afford to buy their products. Same thing with the Kauai Pharmacy, same thing with the BELLICON Rebounder, and all the other stuff that I believe in. You get an affiliate with them, then you can be addicted to their products and use them and have more energy than anyone else I know. That is the truth. I cannot think of any other single person that I know in my life, except maybe Tavis, is the only person that can keep up with me. Everyone else gets left in the dust. They just don't have the life force energy from the juicing and the raw foods and the enzymes, You want that. So this is everything else we talked about too. True healing. Okay, this is just, you wanted this to be an explanation of, at least we can get this part. Then this will get better. Then you can have the strength to work on this. All the BS that you've been through. And then you don't have to be like my person that I told you about. You can say yes to it. No matter how hard it is or how much it sucks. You can say, I will go back there into those dark places that suck. Because it's really not that bad. It's just that this is the thing, the mechanism of distraction. Because there's the little 5-year-old in me was like, I'm burying this away, and we're going to find every single distraction, and we're going to have a subconscious distraction mechanism that anytime you ever get close to going back to that place and feeling those feelings again, we are going to find something to smoke, something to eat, something to drink, something to hump, something to do to distract. And most of us just spend the whole society is based on that. But if you ever really get serious in your walk with God and you do want to be well again, you're going to have to look at that little dude, the little 5-year-old boy, or the 3-year-old, or the 6-year-old, or the 8-year-old girl, and you're going to have to say, hey, let's have a conversation. What do you need? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you let that little girl express. And then my little boy was like, hey dude, just tell everybody to F off and go do what you want to do anyways, man. And then when I did that, he was like, oh, thank you. Thank God. We don't need to eat that stuff anymore. We don't need to smoke that stuff anymore. Thank you for listening. And I was like, I'm always here for you, bro. And then I became my own best friend. Now no one can bother me. I went through the dark night of the soul, and it was forced upon me by God. So it was God's grace in the end, you know, where I would have probably just lollygagged my Peter Pan way through life. And I never would have, but it was forced upon me because the level of consciousness could no longer justify the distractions. And so you have to get more and more sophisticated, more and more, you know, more and more sophisticated distractions. Well, I'm just making more money. I'm the CEO of a company. I'm just, you know, doing more volunteer work. Anything and anything to avoid actually having to do the one thing that actually will make the world a better place, which is to make yourself. The best thing, this is for the video and for both of you and myself, the best thing we can do for this world is to make ourselves the single best thing we can be. It's not saving the starving kids in Africa, which is a good thing also, or fixing your community and doing everything for everyone else. And then of course the mom, she's 47, 53 and gets breast cancer because she has no love flowing to herself. It's just everything drains out. And women do that more than men. Men have their problems too. But somewhere in the middle, we got to balance out all those different archetypes within us. But
Well said.
yeah, thank you. And so just what you want to do, I think, is try to find the opportunity to open up that conversation with that little girl and see what are you trying to, what do you need to share? What do you need to let go of? What do you want to say? And you just like, people are like, this guy needs, you know, some psychotropic drugs or something, but you just really sit there and say, what do you need? Because you have the 2-year-old, you have the 5-year-old, you have the 8-year-old, you have the 14-year-old that have all been neglected or had to push it aside, and you had to survive. We all had to survive. And then when we go to start unraveling the survival mechanism, that's a lot of work, because your boy DTM was definitely in survival mode, and in certain ways I still kind of am. I watch it, I'm like, bro, you got to make videos, you got to work, you got to make money. No one's ever going to take care of you. You know, you got to take care of yourself. And but I'm getting more and more faith and more calm. And I swear, this is the greatest thing that's happened to me through all this, getting my gut right, fasting, meditation, all the anxiety and fear is gone. And the one thing that everyone's afraid of is death. You know, I'm like, oh, I can't wait, you know. So it's a weird thing, but if you can really, I think the spiritual thing is the most important. But let's get back onto the track. Because I think, I think we're going to leave you with a few things, because it's just seeds. Yeah. And 1 or 2, 3 seeds, if those take root, even in your subconscious, it's not like I'm some great guru or anything, but, we all share different things with each other, and I'm playing like the guy today, so that's what we've got here. This is just how you start the day, and this is just a DTM's gut healing protocol to get out of the doom loop, which is where everybody's at. They're just so constipated that they just the metabolites of the seething bog, it's like, do you want to have a biodynamic organic garden with all that diversity, or do you want to have like a monocrop pig farm where it's just everybody's rolling around in poop and there's just flies and maggots everywhere?
Yeah.
Right. So most of us kind of live somewhere between those two, but what we're working on is that biodynamic, fruit farm where you've got clean diversity, which creates microbial diversity, which creates the opportunity for more of those communication networks, especially with like dirty food from the soil. Like there are microorganisms in the dirt that act as communication molecules between the microbes, the beneficial ones. And so it's a whole microbial war zone. And our job as human beings is to rise above the lower nature, which is like, we'll just eat everything inside. It tastes delicious. But then you're like, well, hold on a second here. What are the consequences of that? So of course it's delicious. And maybe every great once in a while it's okay. And it is, because I'm not the food police. But I've just looked at this every which way. I've done so many experiments on this thing. I'm like, raw food definitely works because it's the water. It's the water that helps it all digest. And then when you cook it, all the water's gone, the enzymes are gone, the fiber is destroyed. And that's why I would want to, no wonder, you know, the whole place has gone to hell in a handbasket, because we destroyed everything in it. And then there might be a couple vitamins left, maybe. They're like, okay, here's a couple pieces of vitamins for you. When you had the whole thing and it was all there synergistically perfect, you know? And then we ruined it. And so that's why I was saying, like, okay, you eat an apple, a couple apples, and you go for a hike. There's no like going out to the restaurant and making it a thing. It's just that you just ate 2 apples, 3 apples. You know, 3 or 4 of those apples is a meal.
And so your body adjusts to the smaller amount of high enzymatic foods to get your brain to, and your limbs and your muscles to work.
Yeah, because
you don't have
when
to have the eggs and the French toast.
No, because when you have the heavier food that's cooked and all the enzymes are gone, you need to eat more. You're still never satisfied.
Okay.
But when you have the water, the fiber, you eat like 4 apples and there's however many calories. I don't do the calorie thing, but it's a decent example. Because you can eat like 1,000, 1,500 calories of some cooked concoction thing. There's a big old bowl of, you know, gumbo, you know, with shrimp and, you know, bacon and sausage, whatever. It sounds good?
Not the shrimp, but the
The gumbo. No, food is awesome. And every meal should be celebrated,
Yes.
no matter what it is. That's a number one key also. As we get more sophisticated with the way the body works. But that's one thing to remember. No matter what you eat, don't be like, oh, you fat pig, you're a piece of crap, you know. That's the worst thing you can do. Because then you're digesting, I'm a piece of crap. You just be like, this donut is amazing, these sugar sprinkles, no problem. I might get a little ADD for a few hours. The Costco cake syndrome, you know, gluten, glyphosate. Well, no, I've seen it. You're at the party, everyone's fine, the parents are fine, the kids are fine. Happy birthday to you, cut the Costco cake, here you go. And then 15 minutes later, it's a war zone. The parents are beating each other up, the kids are snot-nosed punks, they're banging each other with everything. That's the Costco cake syndrome. And that's why you see, here's these little kids over here. They eat their vegetables, their fruits, whatever, their whole foods, you know. And then you got these kids over here, I want my baby bits, you know, slamming and crying. And
It's true.
oh, it's so true. And the colorants and the additives and the dead, highly processed food. That's all I'm saying. If you get anything from this video or this class, like whole foods, highly processed foods, which means that even just the crackers, they're like, well, they're the healthy ones. It's like it's still a dry, dehydrating, you know, it just pulls the water out of your body. You need the water for the electricity, and you want the minerals for the electricity. So these foods are alive. Like a freshly picked watermelon is a ball of light and life. And this is where the humans have gone wrong. They just cook everything. It's all dead. It's 3 weeks old. It's like, oh, it's raw food. It's an orange, but it's been sitting in a silo for 3 months. So it's not living food anymore. It's raw. And that's better because at least it hasn't been coagulated by the heat and destroyed, you know, and transformed. And I'm not against cooked food. I get it, it's cold, but there's different ones. And when I talk to the people, they're like, what did you have? Well, I eat a lot of fried food. How's your health? I feel like crap. I'm in a perpetual gastrointestinal doom loop and I can't break out of it and I'm exhausted. And I've got 3 kids and I need to get it together. I'm like, well, maybe instead of frying it, you could bake it. And we'll work our way there to as much fresh food as you can, as much fasting as you can, and then that's why we use this stuff here to cleanse, to clean out the small intestine. But the second step, though, makes it possible so that we use the Pyrozyme, which is a super concentrated, highly therapeutic, you know, I hate to say pharmaceutical grade, but that's what it is. It's extremely pure and extremely potent. And these are the exogenous enzymes. You have endogenous enzymes, meaning coming from the liver, coming from the pancreas, coming from the salivary glands, okay? But what happens is around, after 30, it just starts to drop. You need more salt, more spices to get the amylase. And then the pancreas is just overworked trying to keep up with all the cooked food. And then the liver just is like, oh God, and the gallstones from the fried oils. And it's a nightmare. I mean, we're living in a crazy time, and it's really not that hard to understand that the foods in nature would be the persimmons over there. Simple. It's on a tree, you eat it. It coincides with the level of water in your own body. Most of the food is just pulling all the water out. And that's why I like to use these always with juice, to hydrate and electrify. But this is the Pyrazyme, which we use in many, many cases. And this is true for the, as far as from the vanity of cellulite and varicose veins, all the way to like tumors and growths and stagnant lymph. And let me tell you something about the enzymes here so that you understand. This is something that's very important. This is the life sign. This is the digestive enzyme. If you're going to eat cooked food, you take 5, it says 2 or 3, what is it, 2?
Can you turn it around so I can see?
Lysozyme.
Lysozyme.
You're taking notes, so she'll have all the notes. Lysozyme, this is the digestive enzyme. It's $150 for a 1,000 count bag, should last 2 or 3 months. If you're going to eat the cooked food, anything, you take 5 or 10 of these, and it helps to digest it so that your pancreas isn't having to work so hard, which is exhausting everyone, to try to break down all this food that we're eating. And we're eating ourselves to death while we're simultaneously starving for nutrition. So the Lysozyme is a therapeutic enzyme that you use. You use that for digestion of cooked food. This you try to take on an empty stomach. So when you take enzymes with food, it breaks down the food. When you take enzymes with the juice, the lemon ginger blast, it's a therapeutic enzyme that not only breaks down the crap, all that slime that we're talking about, because all the slime is undigested carbs, undigested proteins, undigested fats that leave thick layers of, mucus. Yes, you need a small layer of, thin, healthy mucus. But I'm talking about the rubberized, waxy, gelatinous glue. Look at rice. Take the rice, squeeze rice in your hand sometime. It ain't gonna wash off with water. So what do you gotta do? You gotta use soap and warm water. Well, what's in the soap? Enzymes. What do you clean your clothes with? Enzymes. So everybody uses enzymes every day. And they'll keep their clothes clean, but they won't keep their body clean because they think, I know what you're trying to do. But the whole world uses enzymes every single day for hundreds of different applications. Industrial and cleaning especially.
Pet stains, urine.
Everything, all of it. And so this, when you take it on an empty stomach, which is what I really love to do, that's why I love just living off enzymes and juice. And then I'm like, I'm going up the mountain, see ya. I'll just take a handful of enzymes, knock back a juice, and I'm good to go for 3 or 4 hours. I can climb to the top of a mountain and back. And I'm just on fire. Because when you take the enzymes on an empty stomach, they also go into the bloodstream. Because the metabolites from all those nasty microorganisms pooping in your stomach, that gets into your bloodstream. That is the perpetual doom loop. Those microorganisms that are living in there, the bacteria, the fungus, the yeast, the mold, they're all living in there. They're pooping. It's getting into your bloodstream and going to your brain. And then I'm like, hey, you want to go have some fun? No, life sucks. I'm just going to stay here and feel sorry for myself. It's never going to work out. I hate these politicians. It's all their fault, Right? It's just, and then you're just blaming everyone except all the tasty meals you've eaten day in and day out for the multitudinous reasons, all except which was hunger. Because if you were really hungry, some slices of cabbage, apples, bananas, celery, whatever. Simple, plain, basic, as simple as you can make it. And then we've got, well, let's just open this can of whatever, or go to these restaurants. You know, I'm guilty. I go to the raw food restaurants. Like, this is amazing. But then, of course, I eat like a half a bottle. We love to eat. And so I'm not knocking that, but I'm just trying to raise awareness. So like, it's like, you know, I go to Olak like once a year. I went 4 times in the last month, you know, because I was with a friend. I saw Lou, and then my girlfriend got addicted to it, you know. So now she's been going like every day. She's like, I'm a piggy, you know. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's raw food. It's soaked, sprouted, cultured, so it digests really well, you
And the
know.
McDonald's.
But we would blast a bunch of enzymes, you know,
Yeah.
and then you feel good. You know, eating is good, you know, and you want to celebrate. But the problem is, welcome to America, 2025. Every night is Thanksgiving, and everybody's on the couch. And so we're tired, we're exhausted, and then guess what? How many percentage of the people drink coffee? Like everybody. My poor daughter, and that's why I've been attacking the coffee, because she's 27. She was a barista, and we're at the market going shopping, and I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. She's like, I need coffee before I feel good, you know. And I'm like, I'm pissed at coffee now because my poor 27-year-old daughter can't function without it, you know,
But
just
is
like
it
my
the
ex-wife.
coffee, or is it what they're putting in the coffee?
Well, that too, but people's adrenaline and everything, they just get used to it. For me, I just drink a lemon ginger blast or some orange juice. That's my coffee, you know. So but there's no side effects. There's no downside to it, you know. So I'm just going off the rails here, trying to do a little thing here. 8 minutes, we said, right? We were gonna try, but there's so much more to talk about today. But anyways, you'll get this. It's so simple. It's so simple. And so I'll say what it is. I'll do it real quick. This is gonna be like in 1 minute. 8 of these, and then 8 of these first, then wait an hour or two, and then 8 of these and 8 of these together. So this breaks up all the biofilm trash, and then this is the herbal blood with the wormwood and the black walnut hull, which then starts to, you know, make the
And that's
candida.
with the salad, like if you're gonna have a salad or a smoothie.
No, this is just with juice. Like that's what it's like a
both of them
liquid
juice.
protocol. Yes,
Okay.
liquid, and then
Don't you get a salad later?
oh, I left the probiotics in the fridge, so I don't have the Life Biotic, which is a good thing though. The Life Biotic, so I can't even share that with you today, unfortunately, because I left it in the fridge. But it's a good thing to know to put your probiotics in the fridge, because they're living organisms and they'll go bad with too much heat or too much light or too much air. So
Okay.
always put your probiotics. So that's one thing I forgot for today's little demonstration. I have the Life Biotic, which is to culture. Have you ever cultured? Okay. So the Life Biotic acts as a culture medium to pre-digest carbs, proteins, fats. So coconut almond yogurt, coconut walnut yogurt, coconut pine nut cheese, cashew cheese, almond cheese, whatever. There's a million different ways you pre-digest all the proteins and the carbs. And then you have this living pre-digested food with all those nutrients already bioavailable. So the beauty and the power of soaked and sprouted and cultured foods, where the other restaurants, they just take a bunch of cashews and unsoaked almonds and just make this stuff. And Dr. Gundry and Dave Asprey are right. Almonds are poisonous. They have oxalates. Yes, unless you soak and sprout them and wash them away and mimic nature. So if you're a food savant like I am, you get it. You're like, oh, you need that it protects it. And the almond will be good 10 years from now because it's got those protective mechanisms. But as soon as it rains or as soon as you soak it, it'll wash those away out of the skin, and now it's sprouted to life, and now it's ready for consumption by animals and humans
Is it okay
alike.
to eat the skin if it's soaked?
Yes,
Okay, you don't have to pop the skin.
that's where, right. But, you know, I like to do that sometimes. There's no greater snack than a soaked almonds, right? You soak the almonds and you just pop those little suckers.
Yep.
But the little tail sprouts and it comes to life. And that's why Gundry and Asprey, like, oh, don't eat any of that stuff. I went raw for 3 days and my teeth fell out of my head and all this stuff, you know. And so they just, you know, yes, it's whatever. They're like, raw food is bad for you. Raw food is bad for you for the people that have to feel their feelings. And I'm not saying you need to be 100% raw or anything like that. It's obviously optimal because every single living organism on this planet is 100% raw. Enter humans, enter clown world, you know? The whole thing is going to hell in a handbasket. But you can get the light going, you can get the energy going, you can just run up these hills in the morning, you know, before everybody else is even awake. You've already climbed a mountain, you're on your way back down, and the mountain bikers are just getting started, you know? And you're just alive, you know? And then you're like, I gotta get back for the consultation, right? Otherwise, I'd still be out there because I only got like halfway.
You texted me at 6:31. I went, what?
Well, I got up at like 3 this morning, you know? Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a great morning. So anyhow, it's the core 4.
Okay.
It's the cleanse powder, and that's first. Then this is second with some juice, lemon ginger blast. Like this one's like a fruit juice. Then you make a green juice, a lemon ginger blast, or a clean green. And then finally, then you have your either another juice with the probiotics, or you have a salad with a cultured dressing, and that's how you get the probiotics in there. And the probiotics are the happy. They produce the happy metabolites and counterbalance a lifetime of dysbiosis. And so that's the core 4.
I want them.
Yeah. So I'll just show you where to go and what to do. And then you just do that. And then all the other stuff we talked about prior to the camera. But this is the practical stuff. It really is. I didn't mean to negate it, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, because sometimes we, you know, there's like you got to have the big ultimate picture as well, so that you have that North Star, so that all this makes sense. Like this is just the body. Take care of it. It's your vehicle.
So clean out the congestive food.
Yeah.
Start doing juices. Deal with your emotions. Let them come. Don't try to
Embrace
push
them.
away. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Go through it, and then go deeper into cleanse with these products.
Yeah, and really just getting your gut right
Yeah.
allows you to have a better
Clear.
outlook. I can't believe how negative everyone is. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had my down because I was toxic, but I wanted to get untoxic through just constantly keeping everything as clean as I can, you know, without going nuts, because you know, you have some good days and bad days, but you just don't sweat it. You know, it's like you just wear the world like a light garment, almost like the world is some kind of play or a movie or an illusion, you know, and you're just like, you can just have fun with it, you know, and you have to learn that though. That's a spiritual technique that takes time to, you know, to let go of all because you can see that you're the one milking the drama. And then you say, oh, I have a choice. Because at first, here's the thing. This is the victim mentality. You know, I mean, it's rampant. It's all everyone else's fault. But if you're like, hold on a second, I'm the one that made all these choices. But that's empowering, because then you can start to make other choices. Like, you know what? I'm just not going to eat that bread tonight. And then you'll notice, like, the next day you'll wake up and you'll be like, cool, I didn't eat bread last night for the first time in like 27 years or something, you know? And I actually feel really good. And then you see that denial is actually what leads to joy, because peace and joy is our true nature. And that's why the less is more. Less consumption, less stuff, less buying, less consuming, more being. And that's the ultimate. Being is the ultimate. What are you, Dan McDonald? I'm neither this nor that. I don't identify with any of it. What labels do you carry? You know? Are you a Christian? I'm like, whoa, hold on, man. Like, I don't identify as any of that. You see? I'm free. And the less I identify with any of it, the less weight I have to carry on my shoulders, and I'm free. Now that's more of the spiritual stuff. This is very practical though. The thing about the Paradigm is that it does it itself. All you have to do is to remember to take the cleanse in the morning, the pyrozyme and the herbal blood in the afternoon, and then what I like to do is just have a meal of some sort. It can be fruit, it can be another juice, and you can juice fast. If you really want to get somewhere, you can just do this juice fast. Do 3 or 4 juices in the day with the pyrozyme. Your game will change real fast.
Like
Now,
at least a week.
at least a week. Better yet, I mean, for you, if you did this for 92 days, you would be transformed. And all you have to do is make sure you got a couple of juices to knock these back, which will utilize these herbs, and that'll saturate, hydrate, energize the living water, minerals, vitamins, saturating your body. You're gonna have to deal with the emotional food trip. That's gonna be a conscious thing where you're gonna succeed one night, you're gonna fail another night. When you succeed, you'll see, wow, I feel better, or worse. And then, but when you give in, you kind of never really, the pleasure is nice, but then you'll see it's very short, and then the suffering afterwards. So it's like the less you can do of everything. You have to practically eat like 1 or 2 moderate meals a day for just practical life purposes. But we've turned it into a phantasmagoria. It's a party. We're going out to the restaurant, dude, and they use the lowest quality food, and we're deep frying everything, and it's all got sugar in it, and the minerals are dead, the vitamins are dead, the enzymes are dead. And so when we eat real food, it's like carrots or apples or Asian pears or just nice greens of some sort. And so as much raw food as you can, but the juicing, I start everybody off with just, hey, at least 1 juice. You know, this is where I start everyone, just for the most basic starter point. Where are we at here? Just, you know, for starters, like, what is the flagship? It's this. You get a 1,000 count bag. Maybe you can't afford all this or whatever. You get a 1,000 count bag, and you just drink 1 32-ounce juice and take like 10 of these, 20 if you can afford it. And then those ends, I think this is the most important thing. I've seen miracles with the cleanse. You know, the herbal blood is extremely practical, because if you look at the live blood cell analysis, you will see parasites, candida, sickle cell, blood clumping, huge white blood cell count floating right through the blood. And that's why you want to get on the juice, and you want to get on the enzymes, and then you want to get outside into the sunlight and into the fresh air. Because then the blood can go, okay, cool, the oxygen gets too high. So you start killing them off with this, and then you make sure you get outside into the sunlight and the fresh air, and improve the blood, the river of life. The best way to improve the blood is water fasting. But then again, a lot of crap will get into the blood for removal. The second best for most people is the juicing. You know, just using juice to nourish, energize, hydrate, electrify. Fresh, local, in season, you know. That starts the process of the solubility, or the diffusion, or the dissolution.
Well, Dan, I've heard about, you have to have a binder. You're doing all this and you've got toxins coming out of the cell, so you need a binder to remove it. So it's not just circulating in your body.
That's what this is.
So that's what the cleanse
Yes,
is.
and that's the reason why the cleanse is in the morning.
All right.
Because this works during the day, and this works during the day, and the probiotics work during the night. And then you wake up, and all that work has been done by these herbs and enzymes. And now you take the binder, which goes in the morning and starts the process all over, and grabs all the crap and all the junk and all the slime and all the sludge and all the microorganisms that are now dead because they don't like this stuff. This kills the parasites and their worms, and their eggs. And this breaks up all the biofilms, and then this is the binder that sweeps. So this works during the day, the probiotics work during the night. Brush your teeth with the probiotics, it'll keep your gums super strong. And then the binder pulls everything out. Rinse and repeat. It's a process, it's a cycle. It's really genius if you get to know it like I have for 13 years and see what it does to everybody.
You look great.
I feel
Your
really
skin
well.
is good.
I'm excited. And that's the main thing. It's taken me a while to get out of my own doom loop. And I really try to take care of my gut now. And it's not the only thing. I like to manage all this whole thing. I manage it with various things like we talked about. You know, no illicit sex crap, which just throws everybody off. I think that's out of your guys' realm at this point. Well, we're never out of that realm, really. There's always some, scumbag that's trying to get a quick one. But yeah, right. They never change, do they, those dudes? But just everything that's in the way to just managing this whole system with everything. I mean, it goes all the way to the top where the main ultimate medicine is the meditation of being and just letting go, completely surrendering. And then everything just works itself out because of the divine intelligence. But these are the linear programs, the raw foods and the enzymes, because the humans need something until they don't, until they can just completely let go. But until then, you put them on a protocol, you give them a linear program. They follow it. And then they drink the juice, they take the enzymes, they take the herbs, take the probiotics, and this over time, you have to be committed though, because it's not going to be like, overnight. The process slowly transforms the gastrointestinal tract, the garden of the gut. And this is fertilizer to grow that biodynamic fruit orchard, which has bees and butterflies and a flowing river, because you're eating like apples and oranges and grapes and celery and herbs, and you're making juices and tonics and living food. And so it's not a seething, dead, festering bog of waste matter, which then everyone's like, this world sucks, it's all your fault, Dan McDonald, I can't believe it, you're a scumbag, and you're like, hold on, bro, you don't even know me, man, relax. Why are you so negative? Why is everyone so negative all the time on Facebook, and the men are bad, and toxic masculinity, and white people are bad, and black people are bad, and the world is bad, and it's all gonna end? And it's like, the world's not gonna end. Pay your bills. The world's been ending as long as humans have been here. They're like, the world's gonna end. It's like, that's your toxic, chronic, too much bread and wine. Now go eat like a peasant, cabbages and rutabagas for a few weeks, work in the field with your hands, and your head will clear. Eating unmilled food. But no, you can't do that because everyone wants to be a king these days. So everyone's eating like a king, and everyone's getting the king's disease. But if you eat like a peasant, you will feel like a royal king, a master. Okay, and then for the fun stuff is the fun stuff. This is the life essentials, like dessert. And you take coconut water and you mix these two together. And this is the Paradigm Natural, which is just omega-3s, carbs, proteins, all 22 essential amino acids. So this is the antioxidant, just vitamin E, delicious. It's like a 6-month-old baby can eat this. That's how easily it digests. Raw processed it's a bunch of dehydrated vegetables and raw rice. So it's vitamin E and it's just antioxidants. But it tastes, the first one Lou sent me years ago, I ate like half of it. I got it in the mail. I was in Sultan, Washington, and he sent me this, the Life Essentials, and I just sat there at the post office. I was like, I want to try this stuff. I just took one bite. I'm like, oh my God.
Just dry.
It's just candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just dry. So
do you
there's that
mix it-
dehydration, but then
Do you
of course,
mix it with water?
you can, but I like to mix it in the coconut water. It's like, you know how they have at the hospitals, the Ensure and all that trash, which is just like, this is delicious mucus,
And chemicals.
Yeah, well, it's chemicals, mucus, dead. Well, this is alive, so you mix it in coconut water and you drink that back. I call that raw assurance instead of the Ensure or the Boost that they give. It's just dead with all the dead dairy and the pasteurized dead dairy. So it's just a slime ball. And then your grandma's like, I feel worse, you know. So you just mix these two together in the coconut water and you make a nice tonic. But you can also do many great things by adding this, the Pyridine Natural, to your yogurts, a scoop or two, and then you have all 22 essential amino acids, which in the raw food community, they're like, I don't even eat aminos, low level. But then everyone's having hair problems and all that stuff. So it doesn't make any sense, because the first thing you'll notice when you're amino acid deficient is your hair. And you were talking about the gray hair. The other thing that's really good about the enzymes is the catalase, which, you know, it's not like maybe at your age you're gonna have a reversal, but it has happened. But hydrogen peroxide is produced by the food, everybody. And when you're in your 30s, no problem. By the time you reach your 40s, there's not enough catalase in your pancreas to neutralize all of the hydrogen peroxide, which bleaches the hair. And so gray hair is an enzyme deficiency. And so that's why they're telling me, Dan McDonald, you use Botox and you dye your hair and you dye your beard. I've never done that. So here's for the record. And Lou Corona has never dyed his hair or used Botox either.
Well, how old are you?
I am 51 and Lou is 74, and I've never dyed my hair, and I'm not gonna. You know, I don't care about getting gray or anything, you know.
Is he still doing the coffee table play?
Yeah, of course. He does all that stuff. You know, the only thing different about Lou is that he takes the weekends off now. He's 74. He deserves it. You know what I'm saying? He works like, whatever, 20 hours a day, you know. So just helping people with this. Just getting them on this. Just getting them on the green juice and the enzymes, you know. And that's why I said with the flagship, you know, get the Lifetime and just take 32 ounces of juice and take 10 of these. And that'll slowly begin the process of waking you up and flushing out all the waste and breaking down. Like I said, when you take the enzymes on an empty stomach, it's therapeutic. When you take them with food, it's digestive. Use them for both. If I go to a raw food restaurant with Lou, we blast hella enzymes. We just digest all that raw food, you know, which is just more like soups and all these weird, crazy, fancy, you know, raw vegan foods. And then when I'm at home alone, I'm just living off enzymes and juice. And that's why I'm running up these mountains and I feel good. My blood is clean.
So two most important products are the Lyzyme and the Cleanse. If someone's just to start and couldn't afford all of it.
It's hard to say, but I used to kind of lean towards the Cleanse, even though it's one of the more inexpensive ones and just more utilitarian. But I'm brushing up on my enzyme information. I've been saturating myself with it. In fact, I have this rule. The only thing I can look at anymore is either God stuff or enzyme stuff, because I don't want to deal with the politics, the religion, which isn't the God. God is totally different than religion. Remember, Jesus wasn't a Christian. Okay, that'll piss him off. Anyhow, but so I've just been brushing up on all my enzyme knowledge and really watching a lot of videos and stuff. I mean, the pharmaceuticals, they definitely don't want you to know about this, because this will take about half the pharmaceutical out of business. And the beautiful part about this is there's no side effects. There's never been one single known side effect to enzymes. Some people have an allergic reaction, but that's because they're so toxic. So you got to slow down a little bit, get more on raw foods, and start the process of cleansing yourself out so you don't have a negative response to these enzymes, because unless maybe you are allergic, but allergies aren't even a real thing. Allergies is an overloaded lymphatic system like everyone has. So we need to flush, cleanse, heal, bounce, move. And you got to keep that lymph from becoming stagnant. If the mucus builds up, you got to drink tea, you got to drink water, you got to drink juice, you got to eat fruit, grapes, and keep that lymphatic system from becoming, thick, gelatinous, excessive white blood cells, because everything we take is toxins. And if you eat the cooked food, it releases the white blood cells, and that fills up the lymphatic system with huge white blood cells, while the little teeny tiny red blood cell is trying to move oxygen, the white blood cells that are immune response to foreign invaders, are everywhere, are humongous. And they end up blocking these tiny little microcapillaries. And that's why we lose circulation. That's why these dudes can't get a boner, the whole thing, you know? And that's why we diminish, right? We diminish circulation. Well, that's true. I mean, it sucks. And now they've got this new thing. Well, it gets your circulation going, but it doesn't arouse you. It's like, listen, man, you need to get on the DTM program, okay? That comes back to life, because you don't need no pills, okay? You gotta be chilling. You gotta put on ice packs, okay? Because that's how healthy I am, all right? So anyhow, yeah, it's all so funny, but you can just get healthy. You can do this, you know? Anyone can do this. I'm just trying to do what I can do. You guys were a great audience today.
Thank you.
Do you think you got this? I mean, it's not that hard. It's very
not
simple.
that
Oh,
hard.
I forgot to say, I guess, write this down. About 10 or 12 of the probiotics at night. They're a little smaller. And you just take those with a little water, or they're actually tasty and delicious. So you just chew them up.
I like at bedtime.
Yeah, right before, an hour before bed. And then they go down and they do their work. They finalize everything after all the rest of this. And then you wait as long as you can, whatever, 12 or 16 hours of not eating. And then you go with the cleanse. And that's the binder that sweeps everything through. And these monstrous, amazing bowel movements, you'll feel better after the cleanse, And so, I mean, I tried my best again. I don't think I did that great of a job at explaining how, because I should be able to do it within like 3 minutes.
Oh,
8 of these, and then 10 or 12 of the Pura Life probiotics. But there's a whole lifestyle that goes with it, all these different cultured foods, and you can make the most amazing hummus out of this and just dip your vegetables in it. You can have those amino acid, dressings and stuff, and the juices. And I believe in amino acids, and I believe in fatty acids, and I believe in hydrating carbons. I believe in all of it, And so there's a lot of, I'm not going to say everyone, but there's just all these factions of extremism. And God created all this stuff for a reason, man, And everything has its time and its place. So we can't demonize one or two things. And I'm always leery of the ones that say, never do this or never do that, because there's so many different, it's infinite context. And the true healer is going to be waking up after thousands of consults, and they say, well, this is what worked for me. Wow, okay, that's politically incorrect, And so there's a lot of things that for whatever reason, the mystery, sometimes people are so disciplined that when they break protocol and they do something they're absolutely not supposed to do, they're like, oh my God, this is so good. And it's like, the little inner child is like, thank God, you asshat. I need a little bit of something. You're killing me over here with this too disciplined, And so there has to be a balance in all things. It's like the cop-out, right? For the people who are militant, and like the food police standing over you with a baseball bat ready to hit you on the back of the head if you have a piece of cheese at your grandma's house and you've been vegan, whatever, It's like, none of that is, you gotta relax.
Can't think of who you're thinking of.
What, did someone have that? The
Yeah.
cheese, yeah, right, I mean, exactly.
Yeah, someone that wants you to hit you over the head with a bat.
Well, the people that are standing over the top of you, scrutinizing every bite of food that you eat. You're like, listen, I'm miserable, depressed, I've had a hard day. Can I just have a piece of bread with butter, Or whatever the deal is,
Yeah.
There's a million different things, but everyone needs to relax. That's the main thing. You can teach yourself to utilize this, and then this becomes a lifestyle every day. So do I do it every day? What I do is I do it intuitively. Like when I get home, I'm actually going to do the cleanse, even though that's outside the protocol. Just because I've had all the raw food, I've had all the blah, blah, blah. Now I've got a kitchen tonight over at the resort, and I got a thing of orange juice, and I'm going to blast about a triple doser so that tomorrow I can have a big old release of all the, weeks of raw food and just out and about, you know, homeless wandering bum, and I don't even have a cooler anymore. I used to have a cooler and I'd have all my stuff. I don't even have a cooler anymore because there's no room in my car because I made a bed in the back, you know. So now I got to figure out some way to get a cooler, because you got to have a cooler if you're a raw food guy.
Passenger seat.
Well, that's got my backpack. Yeah, so I probably should have bought a bigger car. But anyways, I just,
One of those things that go on top of it.
that's my next move.
Yeah.
I got to make that happen next. But I think we,
Thank you.
yeah, okay, you got it? I want to make sure that you're satisfied because you hired me for a consult today. Yeah, we shared some really great stuff.
Yes.
I try to dig deep. Your boy's been through it, for sure. And I believe in people, and I believe in God, and I believe in raw food. And I just believe that, you know, stuff can suck. So I have a lot of compassion. So I'm kind of like a compassionate, like, drill sergeant, you know? Let's just cut to it. We have an hour, you know, to cut to it. And I think you picked up on it, at least that I care. And that I truly believe in this. Like, I have taken myself through from pretty bad vibes to like pretty good. A pretty good life I have after, you know, a rough start, you know. And I owe a lot of it to raw foods, detox, fasting, meditation, God's grace, and just also more so some flexibility. I used to be really tight and afraid of food. It's just like, okay, it's just gonna go through and you're gonna poop it out. But if you do that every day, and you get addicted to it, that's where the problem is. So you wanna be able to have a diversity in your diet, you know? But you also don't wanna get habitually like, all right, let's go to Olive Garden again and get the pasta with the cheesy pasta, because then it's like, oh, that's a real butt plug. You know, the best food is like fruits and nuts, really. And then secondarily to heal are the herbs for balance, you know? And then you learn how to prepare all that stuff and you can have a pretty decent life. I love living foods, you know? I'm a big, huge fan of that. But I'm not the police either. I'm not here to judge anyone. I want to emphasize that over and over again, because a part of my problem for years was I was just so tight, so afraid. I'd walk back and forth in front of the Thai restaurant, you know. I just wanted these spring rolls, and the only thing was that the outside wrap was a rice paper, you know. So I'm just scared to death of this little, you know, millimeter inch thin piece of rice paper, thinking it's gonna blow my colon out. When I just wanted to go into this restaurant, it's freezing cold, and I just wanted to go in there and order like three orders of these little spring rolls. What are they? Fresh rolls.
Summer rolls, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just, all they are is just vegetables, but
They're
it's the
not
rice
deep fried.
paper. So I'd walk in front of the Thai restaurant just sweating bullets. How much time I stressed. It would cost me more nutrition, and it killed me way more than the rice paper. You know, now I'm like, just go in there, eat the rice paper, try to figure out why am I craving these little, you know, fresh rolls. Of course, you learn years later it's the goddamn peanut sauce. You know?
Yeah.
So now the cat's out of the bag, but I didn't really get it. I thought, oh, these fresh rolls, why do I want this so bad? Then I realized, okay. And then I realized years later that I was, you know what, they probably put sugar in there. So whatever, I was dealing with, you know, carbohydrate, then all your problems go away. If you eat enough carbs, all your problems are at least temporarily, right?
Do you remember coming over here one time and making us the pecan meat tacos?
Was that during the class or was that?
No, it was before.
Different.
Yeah, you came over.
Of course I remember that. Yeah, that's
oh my
the
gosh, it was like how could
DTM's world famous raw
pecans
tacos.
in a romaine leaf.
Well, it's the cumin and the paprika. It's always the spices. I think I'm probably late. I think Taffy's writing to me. Do you know what time it is?
I don't.
I'm probably late, but this has been really good. And I appreciate you. I see you listening. And I hope that what I said, at least something today, it sits in you.
Yes.
You know, because I really try to help my consulting clients. I'm no, you know, master.
You aren't Jesus.
No, I'm not Jesus, but okay, so I am definitely got to get going.
Yeah, okay.
I hope you're stoked. I'm glad I got to see you again.
I'm ready to
blasting off tomorrow
restart.
morning
Yeah.
to,
When do you
yeah.
get back?
I feel at home here, to be honest with you.
No.
The hiking and everything.
You keep coming back?
I do keep coming back. There's a little portal here for me.
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying this. I've felt closer to God the last few days,
Well,
you know?
It's been an amazing November.
Yeah, the weather and stuff, but I don't care what the weather is. There's something about this place that is just very, I don't know. It's where I lived before I moved to Hawaii, and I always swing back through here. And Taffy, she's my adopted mom.
Yeah.
You know, so anyhow, I'll get going here, and I guess we'll call this video good. Thanks everyone for watching. You know, I feel like I didn't do a good enough job explaining, but it's written down, and the math is easy. 8, 10, 12. You can't even. Why it takes me an hour to explain it, I don't never know. But all the stories and stuff, maybe that's just for me to have fun. You know, clean out your colon, damn it.
Yep. Well, you wouldn't have to keep making videos if you could do it in 8 minutes.
Well, but see, for me though, the thing is like I've had to go over the same things over and over and over and over, and then I get off the rails and I got to come back. I got to read Arnold Ehret's work again. I got to hang out with Lou. That's why I'm back on fire again. Because I mean, I've always been utilizing these, and then this guy was like, "You just get them all for free." I'm like, "No, I don't. I bought every single enzyme I've ever bought from." They don't have sales. It's already as low as it can get, and for the affiliates, they do not give stuff out for free. Other people, I get all kinds of free crap. I don't even want it. But with the Paradigm, I buy every single one, and it's worth every penny because it keeps me. I am in tip top, so I'm stoked. I got to go meet my next person, and then pack up and get out of Dodge. So, thank you, and thank you,
Dan.
and thank you, everyone. God bless you. May you be having hella good health. Okay, I'll see you on the mountaintop. Peace.